more than any. A lot of it had to do with James Singer, and I think his real genuine attitude of let's unify, and I really appreciate that.
What do you think the biggest difference between the two of you was tonight?
Well, I think philosophically we have vast differences, right? It takes no more than a glance at each of our websites. And so I think it was important that we each articulated why we feel the way that we do. And I think clearly vast differences in philosophy.
What would you say your philosophy is?
Well, my philosophy is more of a limited government, more of a conservative approach, and I think that's in tune with the district's values.
Tell me what you think about DACA and immigration. What is your policy on that?
Yeah, I think that was one question we didn't really get a chance to go deep on. I feel like that that's one of, I'd kind of point to three pillars that we've not made progress on that we need to: border security, DACA, and DACA is actually a little bigger category than just our dreamers. And the other major category is this whole concept of people who want to come to our country, work, and pay taxes and come legally and then go back home, and the whole worker visa thing. I would like to see us advance all three of those causes and find solutions for all three of those at least.
To touch on public lands at all. I did ask him about that. I was kind of surprised that question didn't come up. So can you kind of give us your thoughts on the public lands
issue? Yeah, you're right. That's a big issue in this district. My staff in DC spends, and here in the district spend as much as half of their time on public lands issues. They're important, and we have a couple of really contrasting counties. San Juan County, where we have just a lot of discord in about how to move forward with these public lands, and Emory County right next to it, where we have a bill in that's 1 million acres. And we've got broad consensus on that. This is a bill that my co-sponsor is the ranking Democrat of the Committee of Jurisdiction. And we've got broad bipartisan support. It passed through the Natural Resources Committee in the House on a voice vote. I'm really pleased about that, and wish we would have had time to talk about that.
Your position on what parts of the ACA that you want to keep? I was a little unclear on the...
Yeah, not very many. I think the primary one is the pre-existing conditions that I would say I support.
You support that, but you don't support what pays for that, basically, which is the individual mandate.
So I wouldn't make that leap, that is how we're going to pay for that. I don't connect those two of those in my mind.
For that then?
It's part of a much broader overall strategy in lowering healthcare costs. And I think this is one of the large areas where he and I see this obviously very different. I see a safety net, it's a very important safety net, but not one that pays for every man, woman, and child in the United States. As difficult as it is to pay for what I see, it's like impossible to pay for what he's envisioning.
Keeping kids under 26?
Yeah, I mentioned I have kids in that category. It's a nice benefit, but it's not, you know, I mentioned in my comments that we buy insurance for those things we can't afford to pay for, and we've kind of lost sight of that. And so this concept of pre-existing conditions, yeah, I see that is really problematic. I see that it's nice to insure our kids up to 26, but not as critical.
Seeking a full term in Congress, what have you accomplished in your 11 months or so that, you know, makes you think that voters should give you another go? Well,
my chief of staff is just going to strangle me if I don't point out that we've had over 100 town hall meetings. He was really upset I didn't bring that up in the debate. I would put this in this category of constituent outreach. We really, I mean, I've hardly put my head on my pillow in traveling the district and getting out there and being with the district. I think that's a really key component. I mentioned we've actually introduced 8 bills. 4 of those have made it all the way through the House, through committees and through the House in just 11 months. One of those will be signed into law tomorrow by the President. That to me is pretty significant traction in the legislative category that I'm really proud of. The committee assignments. Pardon?
What's your unfinished
business?
Well,
public lands is a huge one. We've got it. We're really hopeful we can get Emory County across the finish line this year. It's really important. And then we have issues down in San Juan County with Bears Ears, Mountain Accord, although currently Congresswoman Mia Love is carrying that bill. It's in my district. and we'd like to find a path forward on that to see if we can't help Congressman Love move that forward.
Polls have given you a very substantial lead. Do you think that's how this election is going to turn out, or is it going to close a little tighter?
Well, as a candidate, I always look at this from the perspective of I've got to go earn every vote. And I feel like if I do that, the end numbers will take care of themselves, and we'll see in a couple of weeks. We're obviously optimistic.
I have another question about immigration. You talked about solutions to the problem, but what would you say the solution is? It building a wall? You talked about border security.
I didn't catch the last
Sorry,
part.
you talked about border security. Are you talking about building a wall? What kind of solutions are you talking about?
Most of my colleagues really don't talk about a wall when they talk about border security. I think there's an acknowledgement that a wall will be part of the solution, but I certainly don't, and most of my colleagues that I work with don't see this sea to shining sea wall. We see it as part of it. I think we see technology, we see the best methods in the best place. But I also tried to be clear tonight that we need to invest in the border, and that goes far beyond border security. That includes judges, immigration judges, that includes facilities, includes social workers, all of these things that are causing us to be dysfunctional at the border.
What does the next couple weeks look like for you leading up to the vote?
Well, this won't surprise any of you. I think we have 4 or 5 or 6 town halls scheduled. I believe I'm in Provo tomorrow night. I'm in Green River on Saturday night. That's a hallmark of my campaigning. I like it because we don't spend a lot of money, but we reach and touch constituents, I think, in a pretty significant way. So you'll see a lot of that. I'm not going to unfold the entire playbook for obvious reasons, but I can tell you we're taking nothing for granted.
To consider?
You know, I would hope that voters would look at what we've done in 11 months. I'm very proud of that track record. I think not only can we keep that pace up, but I think we can increase it in effectiveness and getting things done for the district and representing the district. Good? Thanks, y'all. Thanks for being here tonight. Yeah. Okay.